What motivated you to start swimming?
Well, I always loved being in the water. Growing up, we moved into a house that had a pool when I was probably like 3 or 4, and I didn't really leave it very much. And so that kind of started the trying to learn some formal, swimming as far as the strokes and being a competitive swimmer. Kind of started when I was about 4 years old in one of the little junior tiny tot programs for one of the regular swim teams where I grew up, and and I just started off doing kind of like glorified swimming lessons, I guess. So it'd be like a summer programs I would start off with.
How important is the positive, clear mind for you and the athletes you coach?
I mean, that's probably the most important thing for everybody, regardless if you're an athlete or not. If you can be positive about the situation or try to be constructive about how to overcome obstacles or things that occur to everybody. It's hard to figure out ways around those obstacles or how to get through things if you're constantly thinking about the obstacle and you're not thinking about how to get over it or around it. And so, everybody runs into those moments. So, I mean, I remember, I probably hit a moment when I was like 11 or 12, and I just was tired of swimming every day. And, probably a part of that was not really having set goals to achieve. And so once I kind of got through that with a lot of help from my, parents and coaches who just kept encouraging me, and really they did that through helping me set goals and things that I could achieve, and to kind of start feeling positive again about what I was doing as far as swimming goes. But I mean, that really helped out as far as getting to the next level, after that.
How do you set your goals?
Well, it's good to set long-term goals and short-term goals. So if you have you can set a pretty high standard of a long-term goal that you're trying to achieve, but then also be realistic at the same time that you want to have goals that you are achievable. So you can kind of set some short-term goals as far as wanting to achieve a certain time, or wanting to improve a certain stroke, or improve other aspects of your sport.
Have you had an injury that set you back and made you hesitant to get back into the pool, but you kind of took some time to get your head back in?
No. I've been very fortunate in that respect, where maybe part of being a little bit of a perfectionist, or part of having good coaching when I was young, as far as the technique of swimming, for me, I somehow avoided a lot of those repetitive motion injuries. So I was one of the few people that I knew growing up that didn't have shoulder issues, or didn't have any elbow issues. That kind of tend to be the major, I guess, issues that sports injuries that you have in swimming. But as an adult, I tried to go too fast too soon, and I actually, the next day I realized that I had kind of injured my shoulder because I didn't warm up properly and do those things. And that kind of took me, probably about 2 months of resting it to really feel like I could swim normally, or swim how I used to swim. So, but that's kind of where I went away from my training, of being properly warmed up and focusing on good technique, and I was just trying to go fast.
Have you had athletes on the swim team that have come to you with an injury and they're kind of like, I don't know if I want to get back in the pool?
I guess those are kind of more, as far as swimming goes,
Mm-hmm.
usually, there's not really going to be too many traumatic injuries. Diving, we do have divers that, they can flop pretty bad or hit the board with their hand, their toe, their foot, and they can kind of have a mental block that way. I think for swimmers, most of the time it's anxiety about competing. So it's not really about the swimming right, it's just about maybe the aspect of being watched and being in a competition, and having that extra blood pressure when you're not just in practice anymore. And so there's probably about 10 to 12 kids every year that I'm constantly having to tell them to just relax and just have a good time and just do what you know how to do, and not really try to stay out of that negative mindset where they're focused on the negative rather than the positive.
With all the sports that you've done throughout your life, what is your biggest achievement and how did it make you feel after completing it?
Man, okay, that's kind of. I mean, probably my greatest achievement would have had to been in college and swimming and swimming fast enough to actually earn a partial scholarship on the team. I was never a specialist in anything, so I never got first place in very many events, growing up. But I was a pretty good all-around swimmer, and so in college I was able to place in the top 8 in 4 different events, which was not exactly common for everybody. But that was probably my biggest achievement, and then being able to get the scholarship afterwards and feel like, wow, I really did achieve something, because there's a lot of swimmers that were on our team that were deserving, but somehow I was able to help the team out more and get more of a scholarship that way.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.